swung on and driven high and deep into center field. The Red Sox are going to the playoffs. Say down, say hello to October.
It's gone. It's into the bullpen. This game is tied. This game is tied.
Strike three called. 100 miles an hour. His 11th strikeout.
Dale winds. He fires. Swing and a miss. Strike three. It's over. The Red Sox have won the World Championship.
All right, we're back. Play Tessie, episode 350. It's the official Red Sox podcast of WEI, presented by Baseball Isn't Boring. Get your merch at bbisn'tboring.com. Subscribe to Play Tessie wherever you get your podcasts. Rate 5 stars. We really appreciate it. You can find us on YouTube, the Play Tessie YouTube channel. Hit the thumbs up on those videos. Subscribe, and then find us on the socials at Play Tessie everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We've had tons of good stuff coming out there. Clips from the show, clips from our interviews with players. It's all good stuff. And what else is good stuff? Gordo's internet. Oh, he's back.
There you go.
I'm back. What else is good is the Red Sox in the last 3 games. 3-game sweep of the Detroit Tigers. A couple days ago, Sunday, we were on radio. And Sammy, do you remember Bradfo? By the way, Sammy's here, Pat's here, Gordo here, full squad. Bradfo had mentioned where the Red Sox were in the standings in the AL wildcard race relative to where the Mets were in the NL wildcard race. They were within a game of each other record-wise, but the Mets were 8 out of a playoff spot, and the Sox were 3. Mm-hmm. And the response to that, understandably, is, well, it's great that they're only 3 out, but you watch the games, they make you want to claw your eyes out. Then they go out and sweep a series in Detroit, and it makes you look at the standings and say, God damn, like if they really could just put this together for just not even a long stretch. Like last year, it was the 10-game win streak of what was it, July? Yeah, I think it was July leading into the All-Star break. 10-game win streak, and that's the streak that got them into the playoffs. They don't even need a stretch like that to get into a wild card spot right now, which is ridiculous because they've been so terrible this year. But the AL, I mean, the third wild card spot is multiple games under 500. The Red Sox are a game and a half out right now as we record. Maybe it'll get to 2 by the time this drops, but it just shows you how little they actually have to do to get back into this. And I know they did just sweep the Tigers, and I want to be really happy about it. But at the same time, I can't ignore what we've seen the whole season. I can't ignore the fact that Roman Anthony has a wrist sprain, and we're going to see if and when he comes back soon. Ranger Suarez, they say, is probably on track to make his next start coming up this weekend. We'll see if that happens. I feel like there's one more injury I'm forgetting about here.
Well, Contreras.
Thank you, Sammy. Contreras shaking his hand at the end of the game. We'll see where that goes. So there's a lot of what ifs, including just the overall performance of the team when they're fully healthy. But that said, 3-game sweep of the Tigers. I loved every second of it. And if they just do that again, if they sweep a 4-game series against the Rays this weekend, they probably won't be in a playoff spot, but they'll be right on the precipice of it. And that's how close it really is because of how bad the American League is.
Yep, and this has been my cope that I tell to people who are telling me Red Sox season's over, there's no point of watching. And I say, I know they look terrible, and I know I've been just dumping all over them, saying how bad the offense is, the pitching's underwhelming, the defense, whatever, looks good, but you're not scoring, so who cares? The rest of the league is not looking good, and that's what's kept me, that little bit of hope, which it's small, a little bit of hope. When I say little bit, I really mean little bit of hope with this team. That's what's given me that. And this series, injuries aside, that's how they have to play if they want to put together a win streak like you were referring to, Gordo. They have to keep playing great defense. The pitching has to be good. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be good like it was against the Tigers. And then the offense, you don't need to score 10 runs. I think actually the Wednesday game might be the perfect example of how they have to play. Clean defense. Sonny Gray, I know he didn't allow any runs. I didn't think he looked great, but he did his job. The offense scored enough run. Defense, rock solid. They win the game. That's what you need to see more of. I'm not going to flip the script and do happy podcast. Yay, the Red Sox are back. They won 3 in a row. Like, happy about it. But there's been a lot of crap leading up to this. If you listen to Play Tessie, you've heard. We've been yelling a lot, justifiably. So step in the right direction. Tampa Bay's red hot. That's going to be another big test at Fenway starting today. If you're listening on drop day, there's no no getaway day break for the Red Sox. They are right back into action against the hot team. So we'll see where it goes from here. I'm optimistic, but cautious as always.
Yeah, Gordo, just to add context to kind of what you were saying earlier, the American League standings right now as we record, so Wednesday at 10 o'clock at night. The Yankees and the Rays are the only two teams in the American League over 500.
Wait, it's only 2 now?
The Athletics are 500, leading their division. The Guardians are a game over 500, or game under 500, sorry, leading their division. There are then the Tigers and Mariners and Royals and Rangers, who are 2 games under 500. The Orioles, the White Sox, 3 games under. And then the Sox, Twins, and Blue Jays are 5 under. So it's just an absolute crock of shit in the American League. So, yeah, like early season sweep against a okay team. I know Scooble's down and all that stuff, but the Tigers are still like a competitive team. 3-game sweep early in the season, especially the way things are going. Nice. Step in the right direction, whatever. You're still 5 games under 500. I think I'm going to reserve any, happiness or celebration until they do, win 8 out of 10, 10 out of 13, like some form of an extended window where they're playing plus baseball and winning a lot of games. That being said, I don't know what really could have gone better in Detroit, aside from the Roman injury, obviously, which we're still kind of waiting to see wait and see mode with that. But pitching was great. Defense was awesome. Offense actually showed up, scored some runs with runners in scoring position. They hit home runs. They hit for extra bases. They were stealing bases. Just good, clean baseball for 3 straight games. And hopefully this kind of is parlaying into a little bit of momentum. They're back at home against the Rays. The Rays are, like I just said, the second best team in the American League right now. Is it sustainable? I don't think so. But it's also the team you're playing right now is red hot. So you look at them like you look at the Yankees right now. So hopefully it builds. It's a good series. They at least split or take 3 out of 4. And that is when I'll kind of be a little bit more generous with my outlook so far.
It's what you said before, though, Pat. It's a building block. We can't, and it's also what Sammy said. You guys both said it. You can't. We've been pissed on basically every podcast dating back to the one that we did after opening day against the Reds. It's basically been annoyed, or are we allowed to be annoyed, every single podcast. So a 3-game sweep doesn't just flip that script to everything is awesome. But that said, you have to do these things to get to that point. Like, we want to have watchable baseball over the summer, where I referenced it, I think, on the radio, where I said the illusion of contention, at least give me that. And then hopefully once you get the illusion of contention, it actually turns into real contention and they can get into a playoff spot. But to get to any of those places, you need games like this. You need series like this, and they're going to need more of it. But you look at where they're at in the standings, and they really are just like one awesome series away from being able to watch the games and feel like you're not cheering for nothing. Like, let's think, what's the first game of the series? It was the Tolle game?
Tolle, yeah.
Tolle. Okay. That's a bad example, because when Tolle starts, I don't really care where they're at in the
How
standings.
about game 2?
Yeah.
Opener with Bello.
Game 2. It's like good things are happening in game 2. And I guess the Framber thing, which we'll definitely talk about, happens, and that gives you a burst of energy. But before that, like, good things are happening, and I'm cheering, I'm yay, but like, I don't feel like I'm necessarily cheering because it's gonna get me anywhere. I feel like I'm cheering just because, like, my brain knows when that thing happened, I am happy. But it's not like it's going to lead to us getting into the postseason or anything. But if you do well, if you win 3 out of 4 against the Rays here, you're back into that territory. You might already be back into that territory. If you're a game and a half out of a playoff spot and good things are happening, I mean, how can you sit there and say none of this matters when you're a game and a half out?
Oh, all these games matter. If we're going to get on them for losing games early in the season, we have to equally say good job when they win games. And before we get to Framber, because I'm sure we're all going to have opinions on that, I do want to talk about the first game of the series. That was a bizarre baseball game that I feel is going to get lost in the shuffle because of the Framber game. So first, it gets moved forward. The start time gets moved up earlier, 30 minutes, 6:40 to 6:10, which to me is a smart move. If you see weather coming, why not just adjust the game slightly? Great, cool. You don't have to postpone anything or delay, whatever. Game starts. You can see the ominous clouds by the 4th or 5th inning. You start hearing Middlebrook say, we got 20, 30 minutes before the rain really starts to come. And then it just starts downpouring, like downpouring badly. And all I could think was Payton Tolle is 6'6" in the middle of a field on a hill, and a thunderstorm is about to roll in. That has to be incredibly uncomfortable. Not to mention, he has to pitch a Major League Baseball game while this is all going on, and he has a lead to protect. That was, I don't know, that was a whole bizarre scenario. I cannot believe the Red Sox came away with a win in that game. That felt like a game that they would lose the first month of the season, March and April. They lose that game. So just don't want Payton Tolle's performance in all that kind of, how do you even frame it? It's not adversity, just bizarre circumstances. Yeah.
They lose that game. You say, Mark, they lose that game 3 days ago. They lost that game against the Astros on Sunday.
Yeah, sure. Before Monday, they lose that game, I should say.
The apocalypse saved the team.
Well, that was like, I can't get over the fact that they cleared the stadium and put them back out there. That being said,
yes.
That's the craziest part of all of it.
Buried the lead
like,
there,
Thunder fans are not safe. Let's put a 6'7" Payton Tolle in the middle of the field.
The most important people in the ballpark, you're going to be out there in the open. The fans, no. You all got a seat covered.
Yeah.
That
well, I
being
mean, it's
said,
definitely like a liability thing, but the concept is still bizarre. It's crazy.
That being said, I don't think I've ever in my life seen somebody have as much fun pitching in the rain as Payton Tolle.
Yeah.
He was having the time of his life out there. It was like when a little kid goes through a water slide. Like, he was just smiling the whole time. And that was an ugly inning. Both sides. They had, like, Monasterio fielded the ball, like, fell backward. Like,
With
it
the
was just
bat coming at him too.
Yeah, just like a mess of an inning. And then you're like, great, they're gonna, like, I literally had a tweet, and I'm like, I'm gonna hold it. I tweeted after that half inning, that's how the Sox are really gonna lose this game. They put them back out there in the middle of a rainstorm. And then Yoshida hit the ball.
Thing.
Yeah.
We all did.
Yoshida hit that fly ball that died like 60 feet early. And like, who went for a second inning? It was all over the place. Oh, no, it wasn't a second inning for the Tigers. They brought in that guy with like a 6 ERA. I can't think of his name right now. Beginning with a V. Viscano?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was a rookie.
Yeah, so he comes in. He can't find the zone. Yoshida hits absolute miracle of a double. And then all of a sudden they just start lacing baseballs in the pouring rain. Just a weird. I think when the season is over, we'll look back at that as like a top 3 weird game of the year.
I mean, of course, just because of the apocalyptic environment. It felt like you were back in 2020. The camera shots, like they were talking about the cardboard cutouts again. I really was taken back to that time period. And then Jarren Duran with the 3-run homer. We just haven't had moments like that this year where the game, I mean, it was the first, I tweeted it out too. Pat, you say that's a game they lose and they go down 2-0. They hadn't won a game where they were trailing by 2 runs. So when Duran steps up, like, you're not even thinking that something good's going to happen. You're just assuming that something bad is going to happen. And then all of a sudden you snap your fingers, the ball's in the seats, and the Red Sox have 3 runs, and you're thinking, oh, let's call the game. Call the
Stop
game.
the count.
Let's go.
Stop the count. Did you guys, so my fiance was making fun of me for this. When Duran hit that home run in the rain game, when he hit the ball on initial contact, I went, oh, God damn it. That was right down the middle. He could have hit that.
Did not.
And then it was a fair ball. Right? You guys thought the same thing?
384. Oppo.
I thought that was foul by 60 feet.
I thought it was a pop out.
I thought he fouled out to third base.
Yeah, I thought it was like a lazy fly ball.
Okay, so I just
assumed the apocalypse carried it out. I'm telling you, dude, the reverse devil magic has changed everything.
Do you guys think the juice balls are back? I'm seeing a lot of people hypothesize that because home runs around the league, not with the Red Sox.
But I was going to say, what games are you watching this year?
But around the league,
Red Sox.
They're way up. Like Judge has 15, Murakami has 14, to someone else who I'm forgetting with 14. Like, there's a lot of guys who have. Oh, that might be who I'm thinking of. Mickey the Maniac.
Can you imagine if, fast forward 8 months from now, it's mid-lockout, it comes out that they use juice balls. You know how bad that will make the Red Sox look?
Oh,
Hitting
yeah.
no home runs with like corked baseballs. God, I
think-
hope not. I hope they're not.
Sammy, I think you were thinking of Matt Olson, who has 13.
Matt Olson.
Matt Olson has 13. Okamoto has
has
10. Yeah, like there's like a lot of guys with double digits early on. By the way, really
Jordan.
quick before. Oh, that's
Jordan
who I
has
was
12.
thinking of. Yeah, Jordan. That's who I was trying to think of. But quick before we move on to our favorite pitcher, Framber, just show some love to Payton Tolle. So I know it's only 3 starts, but he's got a 34.3 K rate. Garrett Crochet in 2025 was 31.3. To put into perspective how good Payton Tolle's been. And that's including the game where he pitched on 4 days rest where he didn't look like himself. 205 ERA plus, hilarious. He's just been awesome. So good to see Payton Tolle. You can see the mechanical differences too. He looks much more closed off, like he's coiling and uncoiling when he pitches, which is cool to see. Adjustments. The curveball looks much better. The changeup looks workable. Fastball's still great. So awesome reviews on Payton Tolle. Nothing bad to say.
It really, for me, it's just all in that curveball. And it's made such a difference, not even just using it, like just having the ability and having the hitters have to understand that could come. And he goes to it later in starts. I mean, he went 6 innings, 11 strikeouts. And then, he had that other start where 4 days rest. And that's something he's going to have to work on. And going deeper into, I mean, I know he completed 7 innings, but was it 83 pitches, I think, to get through 7 innings? And it's the same thing with early. It's the same thing with most young pitchers. When you get to 80 pitches, these guys haven't really done much of that in the minors. So they start to slow down, and velocity wise, it does. But his stuff is so good that he's still able to get through those. I mean, he allowed 1 hit in the start. He walked one guy in this start. 8
His stuff's
strikeouts.
amazing. I don't even think his command has been good. I don't think he's been hitting his target. I genuinely believe that, and I don't think it matters very much as long as he's in the strike zone because his stuff is just gross and the extension is crazy, so you got no time to react. Like even if it's kind of the same with Crochet last year. Crochet's command last year was, I'm not talking about control, I'm talking about command. The different control is throwing the ball in the strike zone. Command is putting it where you want in the strike zone. I don't think Crochet was fantastic at that last year. Did not matter whatsoever because of the same things I just said. Stuff, extension, etc.
And that's the beauty of being a power pitcher, because you can get away with spots because your stuff plays up so much.
Yeah.
Crochet does it. Yamamoto does it a lot, but Yamamoto's, he can locate a little bit more. But like Crochet is like the perfect example of the contrast between his sweeper and his 4-seam is legit. And then with Tolle, it's the same kind of arsenal. Like it's the off speed. It's just a curveball instead of a sweeper. The fastball plays up. He has the cutter too. Like it's much different with guys like Sonny and Ranger, because both of them are hovering around like low 90s. There's a huge, especially with Ranger, massive contrast between his fastball velo and his curveball velo. I think it's like an 18 mile an hour difference. But the thing with them is if you're Payton Tolle and you're aiming top corner, outside and up, and you miss middle, but up, they're not catching up to it. If you're Ranger Suarez and you're trying to throw a blown away sinker and that's leaking up, T-ball, that's gone. So Tolle is lucky enough to be of the Crochet mold where, ideally, he can locate his stuff, especially the off speed, to at least,
Martin Ferreira.
Tempt hitters. Because if he's just out there like wasting curveballs, just kind of flipping them up there and they're nothing, guys aren't going to worry about it. But if he could throw it at a decent clip for strikes and have them on guard, even if he misses a spot and he's throwing 98 and they're anticipating a curveball, they're not catching up to it. There's no shot.
He got 4 swing and misses on the curve and 4 called strikes. So it can be a weak contact pitch too. It's just that pitch was not there for him a year ago. I'm curious to see if he's able to maintain that. Like that's going to be a big deal. And my question to you guys, and I'm gonna preface this by giving the Red Sox credit for something that we usually shit all over them for, which is their truthfulness, their honesty when it comes to telling us about injuries. They said Sonny Gray was going to be on the IL minimum 15 days. It was minimum 15 days. He was back tonight. Shout out to you guys for telling us the truth.
No, they're bad.
I agree.
They're like 1 for 10.
I agree.
Not yet.
No, I'm giving them credit here. But the reason I say that is because they've said Ranger Suarez probably not going to miss a start. I mean, Jake Bennett's getting another start, so he is getting, everyone looks like they're getting pushed back, but hopefully Ranger doesn't miss the start. Ranger pitches. Okay, he's back. We're good. Then comes Crochet. He said he hopes to be a minimum. We'll see. We'll see about that. But let's say it's not that long of a stint. Crochet's back. Who are the 5 in your rotation? Because we could jump to game 2 here. Brayan Bello was great in game 2 also. I mean, I understand like there were a lot of changes you can point to. He had a new hairstyle. He was throwing the 4-seam more. He was throwing the cutter less. He was pitching with a lead. He came in with an opener in the first inning. Like there was a lot that changed in this start, and you can point to whatever you want to give credit for his successful outing. But he went 7 innings in this start in this relief appearance. He allowed 1 run. So it's tough. Like if Brian puts together, I just call him Brian. Bello, it's weird. It's not Brian to me. If Bello puts together a nice run of starts, like let's say he gets 2 more starts before Crochet returns, and they're both good. Like at that point, what do you? Because you can't remove Payton Tolle from the rotation. You cannot do it. I will not have it. Under no circumstances can you remove Payton Tolle from the rotation if he keeps doing what he's doing.
Well, if you're not optioning Brayan Bello, then I think you have to, because or are you option Connolly early, which I think would be a little bit weird because he's been very consistently good. He had 1 bad start. Let's go up and down. Crochet has to be in the rotation. Ranger Suarez, if healthy, has to be in the rotation. Sonny Gray has to be in the rotation. You got 2 spots left. Bello's been really bad. I know he had a good appearance, not a start, good appearance on what was that, Tuesday? But like, you guys feel good about Bello?
That's what I was just gonna say. I think you're putting the cart before the horse here, pal. Like we have to see this repeated.
No,
right.
No.
The sun shines on a dog's ass every now and then.
The thing is, like, if Bello sucks his next 2 starts and Crochet comes back, I think the answer is pretty obvious. Bello's going down. But if he is good,
like mediocre to not good. I think if he's even mediocre to not good, you have to option him.
I agree with you there, Pat. I really think it only becomes a question if he's good and looks like he's kind of the version of himself that we saw last year. Because we've seen this guy get off to slow starts. He gets off to slow starts basically every year. We forget last year, like if you look at the earned runs allowed per start, it looks like he was just great the entire way. He came back from that injury that kept him out the first couple weeks of the season. He looked awful. The runs weren't necessarily crossing the plate, but he looked terrible. And then he really turned it around, and he was a really good pitcher the rest of the way. I'm not saying that that's necessarily going to happen now, but it wouldn't be the most surprising thing in the world if the guy who had a really good year last year goes back to being the pitcher that he was last year. And at that point, if that happens in the next couple starts, I cannot remove Payton Tolle from the rotation. So it's going to be unfair to somebody. And by somebody, I mean Bello or Early. As good as Early's been, it would be unfair. It would be unfair.
I have a different take on this. I think the guy I would send down is Payton Tolle, and nothing to do with performance, to keep his innings down, because you are going to need him later in the season. And you can't punt on Brayan Bello just yet. Gordo, like you said, he was really good last year. Very, very good season. I know, Pat, don't say it. The underlying numbers, not as good as you think, but still good, consistent at least. And then Early, like I said, I think he's earned a spot. He's been consistent, coming off a bad start as we record, but still, I think he's earned a spot. So if I had to choose, and also Jake Bennett looked good too, but he's not going to be in this equation yet. I think I would option Tolle, keep his innings down. He's got multiple options. He will be back. There's going to be other injuries. I think and I don't want to send Tolle down. He's awesome. I would love for him to be up with the rotation, but the way things are lined up right now, I think unfortunately that's the move.
But if he's pitching as well as he's pitching and you're fighting to get back into this race, Sammy,
what if he has to pitch on regular rest, 4 days rest again?
No, you're right. But to combat that, you're not doing that in the minors. So if your goal, if that's his one, and I think we all know that Payton Tolle, as good as he's looked, still has plenty more development to go. Like there are things that he could go down to the minors and work on.
Mm-hmm.
That said, like if this is the one big stepping stone between him being, the top 10 prospect who shows us awesome stuff, but he's inconsistent, between that and being this front half of the rotation beast that I think we all see in Payton Tolle, if that's the one big step, you're not going to improve that going to the minors.
Well, I don't think you're going to improve it just staying up and trying it. I feel like that's
You need
That's
experience.
something that, yeah, and you can get that experience in AAA. I don't think he's still pitching innings in AAA. And again, I
But
don't
not
want it
on
to
4
sound
days
like,
rest.
yeah, correct. Probably not. But I don't think that reps of doing it on 4 days rest is what makes a guy better at it. I think you just have to build up that strength. Your body has to get used to pitching. I mean, this is only his second full professional season as a pitcher. We forget that. Yeah,
Pat?
Pat.
So the innings thing you brought up. So last year across, good God, low A, high A, double A, triple A in the majors, which is fucking crazy. Between all of those last year, he pitched 107 innings. He across triple A in the majors this year is, if we're using that as our kind of litmus there, he's already at 32 2/3.
Saying you don't want him to blow by that. What is it? 107 you said last year?
107, yeah.
So if you're the Red Sox, you probably want him going.
He's a third of the way there, and it's
like
May.
you probably want him going 100, 140, 130, right?
130,
So
140.
that's what I'm saying is has nothing to do with performance at all. Nothing. Quite the contrary. Yes.
So
Gordo.
I'll combat that with a year ago at this time, Garrett Crochet's career high in innings was 146. They let him blow past that 205 and a third, up like far and away career high.
Mhm.
The only time they monitored his innings twice. It was the Mets start, and then after the All-Star break, they pushed his start. That was all they did. Pat?
Where is Garrett Crochet right now?
I was gonna say, yeah.
No, it's fair. I mean, I'm not gonna.
No,
I'm just saying
I'm
that
not saying
it's not something that they've necessarily
Yeah.
shown. Like they haven't
think
put
it's-
the training wheels on these guys. As yeah.
That's also Cora. Cora was very aggressive with Crochet. I remember a million times texting you guys last year being like, I would take him out. He's thrown so many innings. They've got this game. Like there's no reason. And then Crochet would pitch the 8th inning and look great. And I'd say, well, fuck me. I don't know what I'm talking about. But now, like Pat just said, shoulder inflammation. He's on the IL the next year.
The other thing too, if they, let's say they just let him eat, like they have a cap of, me and Sammy said like 130, 140 is probably realistic. Let's say they say 150, 160. I don't think that's indicative of a cliff, but you do, especially like if let's say he doesn't go down, and I'm not even advocating for him to go down. I'm okay with him like skipping starts here and there, go opener, whatever you got to do. But let's say they just let him go, let him eat, throw whatever you want. If he's up around like 120 innings by July or August, you kind of set yourself up to potentially be fucked if he gets hurt in August or September, or he has arm fatigue.
Well, what a lot of teams do, and we haven't really seen this with the Red Sox just because they haven't had a lot of star pitching prospects come up until kind of right now. But you see these teams, I think the Marlins did it with Yuri Perez recently. Like these guys will make it to midseason and then they just get optioned out of nowhere and everyone freaks the fuck out. But it's just for like 3 or 4 weeks and then they're right back up and it's to limit innings. I feel like we're putting the cart before the horse here a little bit. Like to me, I really do think that right now with where they're at, being, what is it, 5? Yeah, they're 5 games below 500, game and a half out of a playoff spot. You have to prioritize winning games now. You got to put your best 5 starters out there. And it's just up to them to determine who the best 5 starters are by using both what they've done and the under the hood stuff, which is why despite one bad outing, I'm willing to consider early being on the outside looking in for that group. Pat?
But
The other thing is, we're talking about kind of limiting Tolle's work. There is another option instead of sending him down to AAA. You could just give him a pitch count in the MLB. Like you could give him, once he's right around 100 pitches, give him a 60 pitch limit and have a guy like Bennett piggyback or like someone piggyback off of him.
that's what they did with Sandy last year. The Marlins did that with Sandy in the first half. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I think that is a better option.
One thing I want to call out, Gordo, you're saying don't put the cart before the horse. You got to win games. We've been for a month straight talking about how this team sucks and they're not going anywhere. I disagree. I think you got to keep your super valuable young assets safe. Yes, keep trying to win games with Brayan Bello, Conley Early, all these guys, but I don't want to put Payton Tolle's 2026 season or his future in jeopardy at all to win games for the 2026 Red Sox in May. As much as I want to see them win games and make a run here and fight for a playoff spot. Again, I know if you're listening and you're rolling your eyes, I feel crazy talking about this too. But the fact of the matter is they are close to a playoff spot. But at the same time, this team, we've all said it, we don't really love what we're seeing despite this win streak that they're on right now. Like, I'm prioritizing Payton Tolle's development over winning games right now in the present. If they get a playoff spot and it's July, August, okay, I'll change my tune at that point. But I'm not there yet, is what I'm saying.
I just think that there are ways to I'm not saying be irresponsible with the guy, but you can keep him in the major league rotation, and there are ways to do right by him if you think, man, this guy throws gas on a nightly basis and we can't have him approaching 175 innings in the year 2026. There are ways to do that without just babying him in the minors. Like, you can, if he's one of your top 5 pitchers, starting pitchers, and I think, with what we've seen, even in his start that wasn't as good, with what we've seen from some of these guys, I really do think that he's in that top 5 group, and it really didn't take that much for him to cement that for me. I just think you have to keep him in the rotation. And if it gets to that point where you need to be careful, then you handle it then. But right now, he is in your top 5 pitchers, whether they're all healthy or not.
You know what you could do is you could have him and Bello kind of be tied to each other and have it be like, all right, Tolle starts, he pitches, just be conservative. He pitches 4 innings. And then Brian, then you go in. And that's what we're going to do every 5th day. It's going to be Tolle, Bello every 5th day. If you want to keep everyone up. I don't love that plan, but that's just a get creative, kind of keep all the guys who are pitching well up with the big league team at the same time and available if you need them.
It sounds good in theory, but doing that always shortens the bullpen. It's the same thing as like having a 6-man rotation, I feel like. Yeah. And if you're going to do that, you might no, I just think the 6-man rotation on
one day a week where you won't really need the bullpen is the thought there. Again, I don't love this idea. I'm just spitballing here. Like, you could do that. I would probably just option Tolle and just bite the bullet. I hate it, but
why are we not having the same conversation about Connolly early then? Like, if you want to be careful with Tolle, why not use the same logic for early?
I think Early's thrown more innings, and he's shown an ability to kind of keep that velocity, not to the same degree. Like, he doesn't. How do I phrase it? He has more of a track record. He's been around longer. He's been a pro longer. I don't have the same concerns. Like, Tolle showed a stark difference on short rest, and that kind of is a little bit of an alarm for me, where I'm like, oh God, like he needs the setting to be perfect. He needs the timing to be perfect to be effective. Right now, that'll change, but right now, that's how I feel. Whereas Early, I don't feel like he's as reliant on velocity, and maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe he'll slow down and I'll be like, oh crap, it's the same thing with Conley Early. But he just hasn't shown that yet. And he's pitched multiple full seasons as a pro. Tolle hasn't done that yet. He's also been a pitcher for longer than Tolle. So I just feel he's such a high floor kind of guy, just different pitchers to me. And it might be, I don't want to sound like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. Just feel like they're very different type of pitchers. I wouldn't treat them the same.
Yeah. So Connolly last year, not including the one playoff start, obviously, through 120 innings. He's also the type of guy who has really good pitchability. He doesn't rely on the velo. He can kind of mix and match and get through. We've seen how Tolle looks when he's hovering around 94. He's not nearly as effective. He's not getting a lot of swing and miss. He's not as dialed in. And because of that, like we were saying earlier, he can't get away with those misses when he's throwing 94, 95. His first start and then the Tiger start, he was pumping 96, 97. And that's when he's most effective. So once he starts creeping up in innings, he's not going to be sitting 96, 97. And who knows, maybe the time in the majors, he really dials in that curveball, the changeup, the cutter, all that stuff, and he can kind of work through. But with Connolly, I'm so much more confident with his ability to mix it up because he has a feel for all 5 or 6 of his pitches.
I agree with what you're saying. The pitchability is different with Early than Tolle, but we've seen with Early, his starts where his velocity is not where it normally is, and he gets hit around those starts too. So I think you could make the argument for either of them. I just, with where they're at, I genuinely, like, I feel like 2 weeks from now, if Crochet's back and they're sending, and Tolle has he has 2 more starts between now and then, and it's 7 innings, 2 runs, and 6 innings, 3 runs, and they're sending him down. I feel like the common reaction is going to be, what the literal fuck are they doing? We need to win games, and they're not putting their best team on the field. We saw when they didn't call Roman Anthony up, how people were reacting last year with them not necessarily putting their best team on the field. With Tolle, we'll have the evidence in front of us. This guy can pitch. We've seen him pitch. He's been incredible, and you're sending him down. I just think it would send a bad message to the team. And honestly, I don't think him being in the minors does any additional good if he's pitching this well in the majors. If he was struggling, then by all means, but he's not.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't really have a strong lean either way. It's going to be painful. They're going to have to send someone down or change a rule for someone. It's going to suck.
It may not. Bayo could suck, and it could be obvious. Like this could be.
Someone could get hurt. Yeah.
Someone else could get hurt. Sorry, that's me knocking on wood.
Yeah, knock
That's
on wood,
true.
please. No more injuries, please. But yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone wants to see Tolle get sent down. I don't think anyone wants to see Early get sent down, and we believe in both those guys. And yeah. Hey, maybe Bayo becomes the ultimate bulk bullpen arm. Woohoo!
The other thing, the one last kind of wrinkle to it, is another guy you got to be a little bit cognizant of his innings is Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Rangers historically, the more innings he throws, I wouldn't even call him like injury prone. More things kind of pop up.
But Pat, his best games have been in the postseason, which come at the end of his
Agreed. But
160 innings.
Season,
but yeah,
I don't think he's thrown over like 150, 160. What's the number?
157.
157. So that's a guy you want to not limit him, but at least in the back of your head, kind of keep an eye on what his innings are. So if later in the year, they're vying for a playoff spot, maybe they go Ranger and Tolle, or maybe they both are on a pitch count, or maybe they go a 6-man. They could go a 6-man later in the year.
These things, I feel like, and I know this sounds stupid with how the outfield logjam has worked out, which until Roman, hopefully he's not out for a long time, but until now has not worked itself out. But these things tend to work themselves out. And like, as soon as Crochet's ready to come back, maybe someone else, like guys' innings will be limited naturally. I feel like it's just, I can't ignore what Tolle's done. I can't ignore when Bayo goes out there and reminds everyone of what he did a year ago. And obviously he could go out there and suck the next start, and then it's right back to square one. But when Bayo goes out there and he is 7 shut, and on the other side, you've got Framber Valdez allowing 10 runs to this Red Sox team, to 10 runs to this Red Sox team for Framber Valdez, the lefty, one of the best lefties in the sport, to allow 10 runs to that Red Sox lineup. Sammy, you had the tweet earlier in the day about the 5 through 9 in the Red Sox order. Oh. And it's insane what they have to put out there against lefties by necessity because of the roster they've got. But that's the lineup that took it to Framber Valdez for 10 runs. And yeah, he definitely hit Trevor Story on purpose there. 100%. He's thrown the one thing that jumped off the page to me on Twitter was I forget who brought it up first, so I wish I could credit it, but I can't. He's thrown 2 4-seam fastballs in the last 2 years combined. Was it Jordan?
Yeah.
Shout out Jordan Leandre. He's thrown 2 4-seam fastballs in the last 2 years combined. Last year he plunked Sadon with it when the Red Sox were up 6-0, and this year he plunked Story with it with the Red Sox at 10 runs, having hit back-to-back home runs off him. So yeah, suspended for a reason. It was very much on purpose.
So I don't mind guys, I don't want guys to get hurt, but there's a time and a place to kind of send a message in baseball. Maybe you don't hit the batter, you throw up and in on them, or you hit him in the back with 90. But if you're Framber, and the Red Sox have done nothing wrong, nothing. He was upset for 2 reasons. He was upset because he was showing his pitch grips in his glove, clearly, and the Red Sox had it from the first inning on. He didn't find out till like the 3rd or 4th inning. So he's pissed off about that. That's completely legal. The Red Sox are not cheating in any way doing that. And then he's mad that he's getting his shit kicked by a not so good offensive team. So he drills Trevor Story in the back. That is not the time nor the place to do that. And then after the fact, 2 things: to hide behind your players and coaches. He was not even in the vicinity of the scuffle. He drills Trevor Story in the back and then hides. And then after that, after the game, he says it's not on purpose, when everyone in the world with a functioning brain knows that it was on purpose. And shout out to Will Middlebrooks for calling him out on the broadcast for that crap, because the Tigers broadcast did not do that. I don't know if you guys heard. They were kind of sort of playing defense for Framber Valdez, of all people, whose manager, AJ Hinch, didn't even stand up for him. That was Soft, Charmin, no free ads, soft.
I got the quote from AJ Hinch, which I thought was awesome on
Please.
his part to not
Yeah.
stand up for the guy because he's not. He said, "We play a really good brand of baseball here. That didn't feel like it. I'm not judging intent, but I know when you go out on the field in those confrontations, you usually feel like you're in the right. It didn't feel good being out there."
Yeah. So he had a "we're the baddies" moment. And I think that it is admirable for AJ Hinch to say that. I know that I'm sure some Tigers people want him to stand up for his player, but if your player does something stupid, it's fair to call a spade a spade. And I don't think anyone in the baseball world is standing up for Framber Valdez today. That was a bad look. He looks like an asshole. He looks like a wimp. He looks like a child. I don't know how anyone could be a Framber Valdez fan. That guy's a complete dink.
Yeah, so that was the first four-seam fastball he's thrown this year. And it hit Trevor Story square in the back. Last year, he threw 4 four-seam fastballs. One of them was when he hit his own catcher in the chest.
Hold on. The stat, I just referenced the stat. I thought it was only 2 in the last 2 years.
Was it 2 or was it 4? I feel like I saw 4.
some.
Is it
2?
2?
I think it's 2 in the last 2 years. Yeah. And they
Okay,
both hit
so-
someone.
Gordo, you are correct. So that alone, that's not coincidence. The 2 times you throw a four-seam, it's with intent to hurt your own teammate, which is crazy. And then the guy who is basically, I guess, relaying side, whatever. So the other part of it is, historically, the Sox have Framber's number. Like, that is a guy that one of the better pitchers that they typically hit really well against. So they're already in a good position to kind of knock him around a little bit. He's letting him in his glove. So they're stealing second. They're relaying signs. They're Cedon, I think, at 4 RBI in a home run. Story had a stolen base. He was getting on. And then top of the inning, Contreras and Willier go back to back. Like, they were just all over him. And it's an absolute loser move out of Framber. The other thing is, do you know how selfish Framber is? The day after they lose Skubal for 2 to 3 months, he is now the de facto ace because Mize is hurt, Verlander's hurt, Jackson Jobe is still out. This is a guy the Tigers now need to be the ace they paid for. And he goes out of his way to plunk a guy, not put up a fight when he's ejected, and then get suspended for 6 games.
Oh, dude, he wanted to get ejected. He wanted out of the game.
That's the weakest part. That's the weakest part out
did.
of all of it to me. Because you could say, oh, he was pissed that he was getting his shit wrecked. You could say he was pissed that he was stealing the signs. But to me, AJ Hinch they had thrown 2 straight bullpen games going into that. AJ Hinch needed those innings that day. There's a reason that he was still in the game at 10 runs. No pitcher is left in the game these days to allow 10 runs. There are mop-up guys that clean these games up, especially for ace pitchers like Framber Valdez. AJ Hinch needed those innings in this game, and for him to take matters into his own hands and get himself ejected like that, like, it's weak for how he handled it in regards to the Red Sox, but honestly, it might even be weaker for how he handled it in regards to what his team needed in that moment from him.
Yeah. And then the other thing, too, is I think the post-game quote, it's like, that's just a manager calling out a player being like, hey, like, that's not the brand of baseball we play. I think the other part of it is that's kind of him airing out frustration. He's like, this is a guy we now need to rely on for the next 2 to 3 months. And in a game where we're incredibly short in the bullpen, he needs to suck it up and kind of be a horse and just roll with the punches, take it. And then Framber's like, no, fuck this, and then gets ejected. So
Yeah.
I think Hinch is I think it's a double motive. I think it's him literally just being like, we play a good, clean brand of baseball, which they do. The Tigers are a very well-run baseball team. They play good baseball. I think it's just, look, that's not indicative of this club. We don't do that. The second part is, what the fuck is he doing? Because we need him right now, and he's in the business for himself.
And let's not forget, this is the same asshole who had to bring a video of himself and people saying how great of a guy he is to these teams that might want to sign him this most recent offseason. And like Gordo said, this is one of the best left-handed pitchers in Major League Baseball, and he has been for years, and he's a proven playoff performer. He checks all the boxes except he's a complete dickhead. And that's why he had to take a 3-year deal with the Tigers rather than get a 6 or 7-year deal that he probably could have gotten if he was just a normal person. So, yeah, Framber, Glad he's not on the Red Sox. Tigers fans, good luck with that guy. He absolutely sucks. And he doesn't even like, I don't even think his teammates like him. I don't think anyone likes Framber Valdez right now. I don't even know if Framber likes Framber. How could you?
There were a lot of people hoping that Bello was going to throw at the Tigers after that. And I'm glad he didn't, because we needed him to roll through that start and just figure himself out. It would have been a tall ask, but I really wanted the Boa to do it. There was no way he was going to do it in his big league debut. But can you imagine your first time on the mound and Trace goes, "All right, man, listen, we need you here. You just got to do this. You got to suck it up. We're probably going to option you at the end of the day. And I know your family's watching, and they might come out there and try to fight you, and you'll just have to hold your own. But they call you the Boa for a reason. All right.
Constrict.
Like,
go constrict. I didn't want the Red Sox to retaliate at all, because I hate Framber. And if the Red Sox don't retaliate, I think it lowers the odds of the Tigers players having Framber's back. Because there's no controversy. It's just Framber's the asshole. Everyone hates Framber. End of story. There's no, and here come the Red Sox. Now they're assholes too. Nope. It's just you, Framber. You are the only problem here.
Yep.
We have to add the AJ Hinch thing. Not a new manager either. This is a guy who knows Framber going back to 2019. Yes. So that just makes it even worse. Just keep piling on Framber. I can't stand this guy. Can't stand him. Anyway, Gordo, continue.
No, I was just going to say, before we get to enough said, what did you guys think of the report about, and I believe this was from Jen McCaffrey, about Cora and Craig disagreeing on the Marcelo and Durbin positions? It was Cora wanted it the way it is, which is Marcelo at second, Durbin at third. And Craig wanted Marcelo at third, Durbin at second, which was the leak from the offseason. Like, we all saw that report that the Red Sox front office wants Marcelo Meyer playing third, and they'll acquire someone preferably to play second. And we were all surprised when it shook out, when it looked like from the start that it was going to shake out this way. And now we kind of have our answer as to why. I don't know. It's kind of like a small grapes at this point, but I mean, and you definitely aren't going to change anything at this point. I mean, out of all the things that the Red Sox have done this year, like crap, defense is not one of those things. They've been the best defensive team in baseball. So even though at the start of this, I would have put Marcelo at third and Durbin at second, but at this point, no, you don't change a thing.
I mean, I guess you could say Cora was right, because the defense has been good, like you said, Gordo. I think it would be fine if Meyer was at third and Durbin was at second. Maybe not as good, but still good. Regardless, I'd like to see Meyer at shortstop and Durbin at third with Story at second. So I kind of choose option C. But if I'm choosing between the first two options, I guess what they're doing now, it's working. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, you'd have to imagine that's where the rift between the two kind of grew a little bit. I think when Bregman signed elsewhere, that was kind of a massive event in that relationship. And then I think on top of that, once they go and get Durbin, I can't imagine that Cora was thrilled as Durbin was the acquisition. And then second off, Durbin's the acquisition. And then Craig's also telling you how to make the lineup. And I think that's a little bit why that's probably why it took so long to kind of settle on who was going to play where, just because they were button heads. And I think the other thing too, there was kind of looking back, because after that quote came out, I was kind of thinking back. There was a little contraindications and stuff, like contradictions in some places, because Cora was like, basically Marcelo doesn't have a job locked up yet. And then I think it was Cora who was like, we want someone who's going to be like an everyday double play tandem with Story, which would then indicate Durbin. But that it just wasn't adding up in the process. Because once he said we want an everyday double play partner with Trevor Story, like, okay, Durbin's playing second. And then they come out for most spring training games, Durbin's at third, Marcelo's at second. So I think that was like a pretty big rift, or it grew the rift between the two. Because again, like I said, I can't imagine Cora was A, thrilled with losing Bregman, B, Durbin is the acquisition, and then C, Craig goes and gets Durbin and then tells him how to use him. I can't imagine that went over well. Cora did win. I know.
Yeah.
For the better.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I keep trying to think, where do I want this to end up? Because it's like, yeah, out of those three guys, Durbin, Meyer, Story, only one of those guys has played well enough for if this team is not, or even if they are in it and you want to win more games, or if they're not in it and you want to prioritize development of your future. There's only one guy that's actually earned their food this year. It's Marcelo Meyer. There was also I don't even know if it was a report in the article, but Jen did say at some point Durbin could get option to work on his offense. He's had a couple of good games with the bat since then, so take it for what it's worth. And then obviously Story's been terrible this year. I don't know. Could they trade for another infielder? Could they get Christian Campbell work in the infield? Cora at one point in spring training had said, if Campbell forces the hand and we can't fit him in the outfield, but we got to get that bat in the lineup, we could get him some ground balls at third base. I don't know if they're going to throw more on his plate now after seeing what happened last year when they did that. But Campbell has hit the ball much better lately in the last month or so. And particularly in the last few days, there's been a lot of highlights of Christian Campbell hitting your Twitter feeds. He's been hitting home runs. He's been hitting triple-digit mile-per-hour wall balls. Like it's been looking good. So at some point in time later on in the season, if he forces the hand and Story continues to struggle, if Durbin looks like a guy who should get sent down, whether they win or lose and you want to prioritize development, if you're losing or if you're winning and you want to make your team better, it could be an option. But honestly, trade should also be an option. They should be in the market for a third baseman.
Yeah. I'm with you. I really like Durbin in that Brock Holt role.
Yeah.
I think that would be a better spot for him.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it last pod. He had a good series, but it's not like it changed anything. If you want to improve the offense of this team, there's a couple spots you could do it, and that's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
My enough said is kind of relating to the series. It'll be a good whoosh.
A good whoosh.
Yeah, it's about your boy Brayan.
It's about Brayan. It's not about Sammy. It's not about Sammy.
No, not about Sammy. 13 shut to start Sammy's MLB career.
Shout out Sammy.
He's so much bigger than I thought he was when the Red Sox traded for him. When I first saw his headshot and like a picture of him pitching in AA, it's like, undersized lefty. No, big boy.
Yeah, he just every time he goes out there, they're not even putting up competitive at bats for the most part against this guy. He's not really letting up hits. There's been a few walks along the way, but gets Ks. 13 scoreless innings don't come out of nowhere. Like he's an arm.
I thought he was undersized, and I also thought he was from Latin America somewhere. He is 6'4", 205 from Alabama.
Well, it's fair to think the guy named Samaniego is from. That's fair.
I thought that was like I don't know. I'm an idiot.
You know,
he also looks exactly like Patrick Sandoval. Me and
he
Sandoval
really
had
does.
an argument over this at spring training.
No, it was me and you.
Was it me and you?
Yes,
I was like, you were like, I think
I had to
that's
settle
Samaniego. I go, dude, that's Patrick Sandoval. And then Patrick Sandoval walked out. I was like, what the hell? And then we found out it was Samaniego.
You know what's been in my head this entire podcast, and I can't get it out? The DRE. The Tigers play that. It's like after every strike the pitcher throws.
Dude, are you not entertained or what?
I'm serious, dude. The entire podcast has been playing in my head.
He got one. All right. Can we move on?
Okay.
Can we move on? Enough said.
I'll go.
Go ahead.
So I was at work yesterday and I get a text from Gordo.
Oh, this was going to be my enough said, but go. I've got another. I've got
okay.
a different one. I can go to it. You go.
Okay. So you can help fill in the blanks at least.
Yeah.
So I get a text from Gordo and it says, Pat, I just matched with your brother on MLB The Show. We were just talking ball for 40 minutes.
Sounded so differently.
Yeah. So I was like, oh. So then I'm talking to my brother later and he goes, Gordo knows a little bit too much about baseball. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, Miguel Sano came up and then he told me for 10 minutes about how he went to trial for a kidnapping. And my brother so please elaborate on how that came up and why you know that.
Oh, okay. Well, how it all went down was I had a little time during the day. I go down to the basement. I flip on the PlayStation and I go into a game of MLB The Show. And you click 1-on-1. It'll match you with a random person who is around your skill level.
Yeah.
And you play. And all of a sudden, so Pat, you correct me, you and your brother share a PlayStation account, right?
Used to, yeah.
Oh, so now it's just him.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm getting party invites from that account, and I look in the top left, and I, out of just complete randomness, I got matched with Pat's brother. So I joined the party, and he's like, "Hey, I just need to hit a couple of doubles for this thing, and I'll just like let you win the game." So I let him hit a couple of doubles, and then he quit, and I get the win, and we just sat there and just like talked ball for 45 minutes.
So talk about the Sano thing, because this
Oh.
intrigued me.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember being weirded out by that when it happened. I mean, how do you forget when you see that Miguel Sano kidnapped someone? But I guess it was just allegations, and he was cleared, so I guess he didn't. But still, you read
Okay.
the headline: Miguel Sano kidnapped someone. You don't forget that.
Because he was like, because you were like, yeah, we just talked ball for 45 minutes. And then I was talking to my brother. He's like, yeah, he told me that Miguel Sano kidnapped somebody. I'm like, that's not talking ball. That's like,
Well,
what?
we were talking about like Rocco Baldelli and Derek Falvey, and then he was like, so they oversaw the Twins when they like set that home run record, and I was like, oh yeah, that team's that. So we get on like Miguel Sano,
Okay.
Nelson Cruz, all those.
Okay.
So one thing leads to the other, and then all of a sudden we're talking kidnappings.
Okay. All right. I got you.
But yeah, good times with Pat's brethren.
All right. Anyway, this isn't about kidnapping, but it's still interesting. Game 2 of the series. I want to take us back. So Giovanni Moran opens the game. He's the starter. Does not pitch well. Gave up 2 runs. Could have been way worse, though, had the bases loaded. But 2 earned runs. Looked really bad. Brayan Bello comes in. Pitches really well. 7 innings? 7. Yeah, there you go. 7 innings. Red Sox win the game. So the opener was terrible, but Bello pitched well, and the Red Sox won. So did the opener work, is my question.
Yes.
Yes.
State your case. Because I had people say no. Because
the opener did his job, because basically his job is to set up the starter.
But he didn't set up the starter.
He did, because the starter pitched great.
But you were the point of an opener.
Sammy,
the point of an opener is to make it so that Bello doesn't have to face the top of the order when he starts. Bello got 9-1-2. He like barely got a reprieve.
Yes, you're right.
Fair,
in that retrospect, he failed. But if the goal is we're going to put the starter in a position to succeed, like this is about getting Bello on track, he got the game to Bello with a lead, and Bello pitched well. So there you go.
Yeah,
I know he pitched badly, but when to make it black and white, he got the game to Bello with a lead, and Bello pitched well, and Bello got it to the 9th inning. There you go.
I'm with you guys. I think the opener, even though the opener himself, Moran, pitched like shit, using the opener was a success, because the most important thing was to get your starter, who you've already paid and extended, back on track. And I think, it was one outing, but he looked good. So I would argue it worked. And the Red Sox won.
Would have been a failure if, when the bases are loaded, he like walked that guy and Bello had to come in with runners on. That's a failure of an opener.
Oh, they would never have done that. They would have brought in another reliever.
What if this happened?
No, it could have been a failure if the Red Sox didn't score 100 runs and they lose the game 2-0 off the runs.
Or 3-2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a failure if McKinstry hits a grand slam at 6-0? Zach Kelly comes in, shuts it down, and then Bello comes in. He has to face, let's say, like 5, 6, and 7. And the Red Sox lose, but Bello pitches well.
Well, if the Red Sox lose, then it was a failure because the opener led to 6 runs.
But Bello pitched well, and I just said the most important thing was that Bello pitches well.
Well, the most important thing is a win. The second most important thing is Bello.
In this case, Sammy, the answer to your question is yes, because the Red Sox won the game and Brayan Bello pitched well. There you go.
Yeah.
If it's one or the other, then you can make the argument either way. But I feel like as long as they win the game, you can't say that it was a failure.
I think it was a success. I just thought it was a funny question. I posted on Twitter, and I think most of the responses, probably 75%, said it worked. But some of the people were like, no, the opener himself pitched like shit, therefore it didn't work. Whatever. They won the game.
All right. My backup, enough said. This was something that I forgot to bring up last podcast, but I was at the Red Sox on Sunday. And as we're going into the 10th inning of Sunday's game, this lady, she's about 60 years old, turns around, looks at me. She asks, What do you think? What do you think of the ghost runner on second rule? So like, we chat a little bit about the ghost runner on second rule. What do you think the second thing she asked me was?
What was your Moyle's name?
I don't know what that word means.
What? All right, that we can't talk about on the pod. The fact that Pat knows that and you don't, Gordo. God.
I think I do know what that is.
The second question she asked. Yes.
Okay.
Are you like? Have you killed a person?
Okay, no. She asked about the ghost runner on second rule, and she goes, "What are your thoughts on Trevor Bauer?"
Wow. That's like when someone wants to talk politics with you and they lead you with like a innocuous question, and then they're like, "So immigration, let's dig into it." And you're like, whoa. We were talking about Arizona and visiting Arizona. I didn't know we were talking about the border. That's kind of what she did to you.
Was this pre or post no hitter?
Post no hitter. She
Okay.
used it as evidence for why he's being blackballed.
I mean, oh God, I don't even want to talk about it.
He's pitching against janitors these days, but
He got rocked in like the B League of Japan last year, and now he's on the Long Island Duck. Lady, shut the hell up! I hate this lady.
It was very funny. It was just complete out of the blue. Like someone's about to take second base. The first pitch of the inning is about to be thrown. Like I'm ready to lock back into the game, and she's asking Trevor Bauer. She opens that can of worms at that moment.
Do you think people are too hard on Marcell Ozuna?
No, what did she? Oh, she referenced someone. Oh, she referenced like, oh yeah, like Chapman got a second chance. Like, come on, like, yeah.
You should have said
do anything.
She said, Wander Franco's prison sentencing ends in 8 years. Do you think he should get a second chance too? And then just let her rot thinking about that question. Or she might just say yes, and then you're stuck in a conversation. Yeah, don't engage these people.
I think about a world sometimes where the Rays just have Junior Caminero and Wander Franco as the top or 2 and 3 hitters in their order or whatever they wanted. Like, oh my God, thank God that didn't happen.
Well, the whole problem was like keeping Wander away from Junior.
Did you come up with that on the spot, or you heard that before?
No, I was trying to think of something bad to say, and then I realized his name's Junior. Top 3 favorite Moyles, Gordo. Rank them.
Mine, yours.
All right. Anyway, and Pat Brown, 3rd place. Pat Brown, the aspiring Moyle.
Pat's a Moyle?
Not yet. All right. Let's get out of here.
Okay, fine.
I hope nobody listens this far into the podcast.
But if you do, subscribe and tell us about yours or a friend of yours is Moyle.
Or don't.
please
All right.
don't.
You don't have to tell us.
You can DM us.
Not.
You can DM us if you want to keep it private and not for the whole world to see.
You can DM Gordo. I don't want to hear about your Moyle.
If you DM it to me, I'll screenshot it and send it to Sammy.
Okay, that now it's sounding like a picture. Now it's getting weird.
Oh,
whoa.
no, don't do that. Please don't do that.
You said send it.
What was the website where you
What are you thinking of?
the video
What was just said that made you think of
chat
a website?
roulette. You're
Chat
thinking
roulette.
of chat roulette. Yeah,
I was thinking of chat roulette.
Chat roulette. All right, yeah. No more chat roulette. Yeah, Gordo, I'm not surprised you like chat roulette. All right,
Is
let's
that
go.
still
Come on, get out of here.
Is that still a website? Is chat roulette still a thing? I don't want to Google it.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
No, it's Omegle now.
Pat, you came up after the chat roulette era.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is.
Oh, that sucks. That was actually really fun back in the day, like going on with your friends, be like, oh God, what is that?
Pat, it's this website. You go on and it pairs you with a random other person in the world in a random video chat, one-on-one. And so like you'd go and you'd video chat someone and you just go on to the next. And
You
like
skip anytime. You can leave whenever. Like if someone is weird, next. And there's a lot of
There's a lot of guys jerking off on it.
Yeah, a lot of jerking off.
A lot of it. Probably one in four was just a random.
And if you're
is that my Moyle?
Is that? And if you're into that, or if you're a Moyle, like and subscribe, because this is the Red Sox podcast for you.
Give us your favorite chat roulette stories too.
Dude, I'm begging you to do the outro.
All right, I'm gonna try. Thanks for tuning in. Episode 350 of Play Tessie. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Get your merch at bbisn'tboring.com. At Play Tessie on all the socials. Subscribe. Find us on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up. Subscribe there as well. For Sammy, for Pat, for Joe producing, it is Gordo for Play Tessie, episode 350. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to go check and see if chat roulette's still a thing. Peace.